It is pick 5 time. Carson Cunningham, Brian Keating. You got to talk OU football, and you got to talk OU defense. Because we don't know who the quarterback's going to be. But the defensive coordinator and all that stuff we can't figure out. The Sooners' third last season. How about the over-under? Will they finish in the top 2 of the Big 12?
I say no. Just there's too many question marks for me. The biggest concern I have is their defensive line. They just do not have the players they once had on the defensive line. And they've lost. They didn't lose, world beaters. Demontre Hirsch was a good corner. He's gone. They lose Stacey McGee up front. That's a big loss for them inside. So this defense has lost starters. You hope the guys behind them will be better, but if they were, they would have been starting. So I think no way they finish.
I'm going to go a different direction here. I say yes under. I think they'll be in the top 2 on defense, primarily because I think they'll run fewer plays on offense, so their defense will be out there less. I think they're going to run the football more.
Answer.
I think Blake Bell and Damian Williams, I think they're going to do a little more that. I think they're going to eat some clock. I think their defense will be fairly solid. Might not be as good a defense, but I think they will finish higher, basically because they're not going to be out there as much.
That's a trick answer, I think.
Hey, I think it's the right answer.
We'll have to revisit that one at the end of the year.
I think it's the right answer. Jeremy Smith, OSU's had 6 straight runners go for 1,000 yards, 6 straight seasons. There's the list, a pretty good one. So Jeremy Smith, you're up next. The over-under, does he get to 1,000 yards?
I think he does, and the only concern I would have would be injuries. He's had some nagging. He's never been a serious injury. He hasn't had any of those, like torn ACLs or anything. And it was actually shocking when I looked up his stats. He has never played less than 12 games every season he's been at OSU. He hasn't missed a lot of games. He's played at least 12 all 3 years. So I think he gets there.
He had a number of games where he was banged up last season, and really his whole career. As a freshman, he comes out and then breaks out and gets hurt in that game. So I think he's had some nagging injuries. You're right. I'll go under 1,000 yards.
Under?
I think they won't give him enough carries to get 1,000 yards, but I think he can get a bunch of touchdowns. I could see 15 touchdowns because they'll get in the red zone, and he'll be the guy to punch it in. So I think fewer carries for him, and I think OSU likes guys like Desmond Rolle and a couple of those freshmen to come in and supplant him. So I don't think he'll touch it enough to get 1,000 yards. Touchdowns, I think, are a different story.
But, they've been doing it by committee this whole 6-year stretch. So I think he gets there.
Hey, Kendall Hunter was the guy, and Joseph Randall was the guy. That's why they're playing in the NFL.
Toasting. Keep toasting.
That's true. No, you're right about that. They came in. The Texas Longhorns picked 4th by the media. Mac Brown obviously thinks they're better than that. David Ash, now a junior, says he's more mature.
You'd expect, a 10-year-old to be more confident than a 5-year-old. You expect an older quarterback to be more confident than a freshman.
Sound like a guy who's going to win 9.5 games. There's your over-under for the Longhorns.
9.5 is insane. I'm going way, way under. Look, 5 of their 9 wins last year were by single digits. They were lucky to win 9 games last year. I got them losing to TCU, OU, OSU, at Baylor, and I think they could even lose at Iowa State.
So
they
you
go
think
there
7-5?
If they lose to Iowa State, it's a Thursday night game. Weird things happen. I think 8-4 is probably the safe bet.
I got 8-4 because I think they're going to lose to Oklahoma. I think they're going to lose at TCU. I think they will lose to Oklahoma State at home, and they will lose to Baylor. So, I think they go 8-4. They're way under 9.5. Yeah, David Ash is okay. Texas defense not nearly good enough for him to just be okay.
Yeah.
Mac Brown getting fired?
If they go 7-5, he will.
Yeah,
I think they're about fed up with him. And Case McCoy will have to save the day again for David Ash.
Case McCoy?
He did.
If Case McCoy has to save the day, it's going to be a long season.
He did at Kansas. They might need him again this year with David Ash.
No team in the Big 12 is ranked in the top 10 in the preseason. It's been a long time since we've talked about that. So at the end of the year, here's the over-under. Will we see a Big 12 team ranked in the top 10?
I think so, because whoever wins the Big 12 is going to a BCS Bowl, and they would have to just get throttled in their BCS Bowl game not to fall all the way out of the top 10. So I think whoever wins the Big 12 and goes to a BCS Bowl finishes top 10. It's the first time since 1999 that no Big 12 team's been in the top 10 preseason. And that was in Nebraska. They're gone. They're gone.
I think no, because I don't know that OU or OSU is going to be good enough to win all their games, but maybe one. I think that's what we're talking about. Can they go 11-1? Can OU or OSU go 11-1? I'm not sure that they can do that, even though the Cowboys really have the best chance. They're the favorite for a reason. They got all their tough games at home. Kansas State, TCU, Baylor, and Oklahoma all at home. They just have to go to Austin.
There's just a lack of star power, too, in this league. Going to Big 12 media days, you're looking for a star.
Guys to talk to.
Back in 2009, you had Bradford, McCoy, just stars everywhere.
Before that,
now,
it was Vince Young.
You got Lake Seastrunk's the biggest name. That's it.
Guy might end up in the top 5 of the Heisman Trophy.
He's a good player, but,
really good player.
No stars.
Des Bryant, we talked about him a minute ago. He was spectacular against the Raiders. Didn't play a lot. 3 catches, 55 yards, but he says, throw it to me every time.
if you're a receiver, you should feel like you're open all the time, you know. And I feel like, you know, I do a good enough job, you know, to beat the coverage and get open. I feel like I did a good job tonight getting open.
So the over-under for Dez Bryant touchdowns, we'll put it at 13.5. He had 12 a season ago. Does he get it?
I think he does. I'm going well over. In college, he was just bigger and faster than everybody. You thought when you get to the NFL that would change. He's still bigger and faster than anyone that covers him. He's like Adrian Peterson playing wide receiver.
A little bit.
I think he's due for a huge, huge year.
Yeah, you know, 14 led the league a season ago, and he had 12. He had 10 touchdowns his last 8 games. Yeah. So once Romo decided, you know, maybe throw it to this 88 fella.
That's a good idea.
That worked pretty well. We're going to do that again. I think he goes over. I think he's going to have a monster year. I think he's going to have an Adrian Peterson kind of a year like Peterson did a season ago. I think he's going to own the league. I think he's going to be spectacular.
Tony Romo might mess things up.
Yeah, nah. All right.